As previously shared with you, the opposition is, as we speak, holding protests outside the parliament. The MPs are staging a protest over their continued demands for a prolonged discussion by the ruling BJP about China in the parliament. Remember, parliament is set to go back into session at 11 a.m. today. Very quickly, first I want to take you to a ground report. My colleague Arun has brought this for you. Then we'll connect with the reporter.
संसद में प्रदर्शन कर रही है और प्रदर्शन की वजह है सरकार द्वारा चीन पर सदन में चर्चा न कराया जाना। इस वक्त आप तस्वीरों में देख सकते हैं सोनिया गांधी भी हैं यहाँ पर और विपक्ष के 12 दल हैं जो लगातार नारेबाजी कर रहे हैं और चीन पर जवाब मांग रहे हैं सरकार से। यानी सरकार ने स्पष्ट कर दिया, पीयूष गोयल ने स्पष्ट कर दिया था कि चीन के मामले पर विस्तृत चर्चा सदन में नहीं होगी। उसके बाद आज विपक्ष के दलों ने 12 दलों ने मिलकर के ये ज्वाइंट प्रोटेस्ट प्लान किया है और इस वक्त आप देखिए तस्वीरों में कि सोनिया गांधी भी आपको दिख रही होंगी। गांधी जी की प्रतिमा के ठीक नीचे कांग्रेस पार्टी, शिवसेना सहित तमाम जो विपक्ष के दल हैं वो यहाँ पर नारेबाजी कर रहे हैं। हाथों में तख्तियां ली हैं जिस पर लिखा है किसानों के सामने 56 इंच और चीन के आगे 0.056 इंच क्यों है। यानी सीधे सीधे प्रधानमंत्री पर निशाना यहाँ पर साध रहे हैं विपक्ष के दल और मांग कर रहे हैं। सोनिया गांधी ने भी कांग्रेस के संसदीय दल की बैठक में ये कहा कि चीन ने जो अतिक्रमण सीमा पर किया है उस पर संसद में डिबेट नहीं हो रही है, जिसकी वजह से न तो संसद को और न ही देश को स्थिति पता चल पा रही कि आखिर में वहाँ पर किस तरह की स्थिति है। तो विपक्ष के दल गांधी जी की प्रतिमा के सामने जवाब मांग रहे हैं सरकार से कि वो संसद में इस मसले पर चर्चा क्यों नहीं करा रही है। अरुण सिंह, न्यूज़ 18 इंडिया, दिल्ली।
Okay, my colleague Pallavi Ghosh with us. She's been covering the parliament since day one. Let's go with her. Pallavi, the parliament winter session likely to end on December 23rd, earlier than it was earlier supposed to. And with that, clearly the opposition trying to mount the temperatures. They've just got 2 days left to make an impact. Tell us more.
Yes, absolutely, because till now we've been seeing the opposition parties, particularly the Congress party, leading from the front in both Rajya Sabha as well as in Lok Sabha, demanding a China pe charcha. That, of course, neither the chair has been allowing and the government is also not very keen on it. So now they've decided to up the ante, and there you can see those pictures of 12 opposition parties who are very much outside the Mahatma Gandhi statue within the parliament premises and clearly making the point that there has to be a discussion on China. And why is it that the government is shying away from it? What is it that the government has to hide that it is reluctant on holding a discussion on China? But the government also has dug its heels in because they said that after speaking and getting input from all the stakeholders, the Defence Minister Rajnath Singh had actually issued a statement. There is no precedence, there is no need for a precedence for asking for clarifications on the Defence Minister's statement. These are national security issues, they are sensitive concerns. It's a question of the Jawans being safe and being kept safe. The moment you start having debate and discussion, you would also expect the government to give out details of deployment. That is not really very feasible. So there is a kind of a confrontation which is now taking between both the sides, and with Parliament session ending on 23rd, there are certainly no signs of any kind of a rapprochement between the two sides.
Okay, Pallavi, quickly, give us, please, if you can, an overview then of what this means for the next 2 days that are left for the parliament, rather the next 3 days. Firstly, what does it mean of the bills? Sorry, do go ahead.
I think, essentially, just very quickly, it's just going to be, I think, a continuation of what has been happening since Monday. So there is going to be that block. But if you're going to ask me on the legislative business, well, the government hasn't been daunted by that.
Okay. Okay, and all right. Pallavi, we'll just wait for a second. We'll listen to the sound of the protests. You can see Sonia Gandhi and on her right, P. Chidambaram, former finance minister, senior Congress leader, surrounded by a battery of other Congress leaders, continuing to demand conversation, discussion take place about the clash that took place on December 9th at the Tawang area in Arunachal Pradesh. Okay, let's go back to my colleague Pallavi right now. Pallavi, one of the things we've highlighted is the difference of numbers that the BJP has in the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. What will that difference in numbers, the difference in majority, mean for the BJP and its agenda over the next 3 days?
See, as far as the government's agenda is concerned, it's very much on track. All the legislations are being taken up, they are being passed, and numbers are not really a worry, neither in Lok Sabha and actually in Rajya Sabha. There are parties in the opposition spectrum who actually help in getting the numbers for the government. So if you have been noticing over the last few days, several bills have been passed. Many discussions have been taking place. For example, the Home Minister Amit Shah is expected to issue a statement today. His response on the debate that we have been seeing since yesterday on drug abuse. So new bills have come out: maritime policy bill, constitutional amendment bill. So as far as the legislative business is concerned, the government has nothing to worry about. They are getting the bills passed and putting forward his argument that as far as we are concerned, we are carrying on with our work. Is the opposition parties who are disrupting the entire proceedings.
Okay, Pallavi, I do want to understand from you. A few minutes ago, we broke to our audiences new news about the China-India border situation. There were reports that a sealed road had been constructed about 150 meters off the LAC ridgeline. Reports like that still coming in. Is the opposition taking note of each of them and raising them? Can you tell us?
All the more reason why they're going to keep on insisting for a discussion on China, Toya. Whenever these kind of facts start coming up, the opposition gets emboldened and then they say, look, we told you so. There are new facts coming up. If you want to deny those facts, the only way to do so is not just by suo moto, one-way statements issued by the government or by the defense minister. We as members of parliament are responsible. That's what the opposition is saying. We are not going to be asking for sensitive information, but we just want to know the extent of intrusion, if any, by Chinese into the Indian territory. So I think even today you're going to be seeing opposition parties giving a hawala of these reports and making the point that this is all the more reason why the government really has to agree to a short duration discussion.
Okay, Pallavi, two more follow-up questions for you over here. The first, I just want to understand from you, we were talking right now about Mansukh Mandaviya's health directive of sorts to the Padyatra of the Congress that's carrying on. We've asked you this question a few minutes ago. I want to ask you again, will we see his COVID directive to the Padyatra also take effect in the parliament today?
Well, possibly. We are already hearing voices of inside parliament and reactions coming in from the Congress party. Of course, there is a concern regarding the COVID numbers rising. You know, all protocols have been removed. Health Ministry officials are meeting today whether there should be a new protocol which is put in place. But more importantly, Toya, there's a huge amount of demand on the aviation ministry and the government that do screen and stop flights and passengers coming in from the countries which are seeing a huge spike, especially since it's the New Year season. America, China for that matter.
Okay, all right. Pallavi, stay with us. We have Shehzad Poonawalla, BJP spokesperson, with us on the phone right now. Shehzad, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us here on CNN News 18. Shehzad, I want to take to you two different questions. The first question I want to ask you is, just a few minutes ago, we shared with our audiences news that initial reports were saying that a sealed road 150 meters off the LAC had been constructed by China. Multiple reports like this only amping up the opposition's call that some kind of discussion needs to take place. Shehzad, to this, what do you have to say?
The rules of parliament are very clear. Rule 186, clause 17 says that no discussions can be held on matters which are secretive in nature, and this was the rule followed by Congress during 2011 and on another series of occasions. So why is the Congress party today wanting a discussion that would reveal all the secretive details of our armed forces and their preparations to the enemy? Is the Congress party bound by some MOU that wants to allow the Chinese to get information about what our armed forces are up to at the LAC and what we have done there, etc.? And the information is available in the parliamentary committees of standing committees of defense and other forums where this is shared. So perhaps if the members of those committees attend those committee meetings, they would get all the information they need.
Okay. And Shehzad, I just want to take to you a second question before we let you go. I want to understand from you, we just shared with our audiences the news that Union Health Minister Mansukh Mandaviya had just instructed the Congress and their Padyatra to very strictly follow COVID guidelines with the surges that we're seeing around the world right now. To which I want to take to you the question, Shehzad, why did we not see BJP leaders more strictly follow COVID protocols yesterday in Parliament then?
No. Do you think that Parliament is not following the COVID protocols that have been put in place? Parliament is very well following it.
Shehzad, I'm talking about multiple BJP leaders being seen without masks while they were talking.
Can you name them?
All right. If there's a list that you'd require, I will provide you with a list.
Please name them.
No, we will do exactly that. Shehzad, thank you.
Can I answer All right, if that's your argument, fine.
Okay, all right. Wait with us, please, for a second. We do have another caller on. Shankara Guha from the Congress is with us. Shankara Guha, thank you so much for joining us here on CNN News 18. So what is your response to the BJP's continued demand right now, the BJP's argument that we're hearing right now? First, on the China aspect, the BJP is arguing that private information cannot be made public. This is highly, highly secure information, and that rules of the parliament themselves state that private nature conversations cannot be taking place. They harm the security of the nation. To this, Shankara Guha, what do you have to say?
No, what is it that they want to hide? That's the big question. The parliament is there for an open discussion. When it is a matter of internal security, of course, there would be some issues. We're not asking intricate details, but why aren't you open about it? And whatever data or whatever release that is there, when you speak about it, it's all timed. The event happens 1 month back, and now you talk about it. So there is something that you're trying to hide. There is something, there is an agenda that you're trying to build. What is it? Come out open and discuss. If there's nothing to hide, if there is no agenda, if your only thing is the security and safety of the nation, there's nothing to hide.
Okay.
What would anything stop from you? What would anything stop from you talking about it?
Okay, all right. Shankara Guha, just stay with us because we have another opposition member with us right now. TMC leader Majid Memon is with us right now on the phone. Sir, thank you for joining us. Sir, we just heard from the Congress. I just want to take to you the same question I took to them right now, which is the BJP has argued that this is highly secure information. This is information that could harm the security of the nation. And so it's important that it not be discussed in public. The BJP has also argued that the Congress did exactly this when they were in power. Private, important information was protected. We've just heard from Shankara Guha on that, sir. What do you have to say and what does the TMC have to say?
You see, under the guise of security, under excuse of security, the government cannot simply keep under the wrap the truth with regard to what is happening in the China-India border case. You see, there has been a report flowing from the international media, from the other sources that, China is rather aggressive and our country probably is unable to retaliate in an effective manner. Then we should not feel shy in knowing the truth. You see, as far as the security of the country is concerned, certainly no opposition leader or no member of the public would want government to compromise on that. But you can't just under the guise of or under the excuse of security, you see, conceal truth and mislead the nation. So if we are having any setbacks, we should have sporting courage to face it and then correct it. All opposition leaders are with the government as far as the question of integrity, security and sovereignty of the country is concerned. We are not hostile to all these things. But at the same time, we would want the government not to suppress truth and not to conceal. You see, their deficiencies under the guise of security excuse. I think the government should come out with this. If you don't want to publicize certain facts in the interest of the security of the country, one can understand. But that does not mean that you should conceal all the true positions. Face it. If China has done something which is unreasonable, which is unfair to us, we must all share it and then try to undo that.
Okay. All right. Majid Memon and earlier Shankara Guha, and before that, Shehzad Poonawalla, BJP, Congress and the TMC. Thank you, all three of you, for bringing us your perspective. Right now, it's time for a short break. In just a few minutes, we'll return with more of the country's top stories.